All right. Got a nice fire going in there. Actually, it doesn't look like it, but it is going. And it's really super warm. And I always put a couple, not always, but sometimes I put a couple of dry sticks on the top just because I like a little smoke coming out. I like to dry those a little more just to get a little smoke coming out so I know something's going on down below. It's just my own preference. And then eventually I'll drop those sticks down below. Sometimes that barrel is so hot there's just no smoke at all. It's all just heat. And I like having I like seeing a little smoke coming off those sticks on the top that are not quite lit. They're just drying out. There's a flame. Well, anyway, so welcome to the campsite. It really is a beautiful day. First of all, I want to give you an update on Tecton. As you know, completed my first several parts of the Tecton review, just what I know about the woofers and the tweeters and the design. And as I mentioned, I put in a phone call to the company to inquire about some other technical aspects of the speakers, such as crossovers, you know, where the woofers cross over to the tweeter. It would be really interesting to know. And I'd love to get the designers, if it's Eric, I guess, his take on perhaps, you know, who you know, what his design goals were with this speaker. Who his audience was. You know, was he shooting for I'm guessing he was shooting for a younger, middle-aged kind of a rock and roll crowd. They seem to be a speaker that would be ideal for those who listen to rock, jazz. You know, is that what they're kind of designed for? Although a lot of designers probably wouldn't want to commit to that. They wouldn't want to box in what, you know, what their speakers are designed for. Although I think companies ought to be more honest. Loudspeakers come in all different kinds of flavors. And you know, you cannot just design a speaker, a one-size-fits-all speaker for everything. There's so many give and takes, so many quid pro quos. You know, there's so many compromises that have to be made in one area in exchange, you know, a gain in one area, in exchange for something taken away in another area. And it's just so hard. And so I think that speakers ought to be like, you know, ought to be marketed kind of like wine, in a way where you actually be upfront and honest with your customer what they're designed for. You know, you look at a wine label, it tells you, well, this one is dry, this one is oaky, this one's got hints of pineapple, you know, hints of green apple, this one is blah, blah, blah. It's right on the label. Just tell me, this speaker is designed for low frequency oomph, great with rock and roll. This speaker is designed for rap, hip hop. This one's designed for mid-frequency emphasis vocals. This one's designed for this, that, the other. There's so many ways you can describe a speaker, but they really are. Speakers can be designed for certain applications. You know, they certainly are in sound reinforcement. Why not just put labels like wine labels on speakers? They ought to be, because they're designed that way. And they turn out that way in the end anyway. Just tell me what they sound like in a way. You could sort of do that with speakers. But what you end up getting with speakers is, you go on a company website and they're really quite silent about it. They just tell you, here it is, it's got this size woofer, this size tweeter, the tweeter's made out of this, and here's the frequency response, and they leave it to the reviewers, I guess, to tell you that stuff. But I wish companies were more upfront and honest with what their goals were, what their design goals were. Just tell me. Be honest. This speaker is oaky with hints of pineapple. Okay. This speaker is, just there's ways. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I just want people to be honest. Be real. Although, one thing I appreciate are companies that offer a refund, a 30-day, 60-day refund on their products. Like Tecton, I think they do that. Shit does that. So that kind of alleviates that problem. So that's a good thing too. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. These are things that I think about. I'm just thinking out loud. And I didn't even intend to talk about this. I don't know. See, I light a cigar, I start talking about things that I never intended to talk about. I intended to talk about the Tecton customer service. And here's what I mean by that. I placed a call to Tecton in hopes of chatting with, I didn't know the guy's name until after the fact, but it's Eric. And I haven't received the call back. It's been half a week, almost a week now. I'm not sure. And I guess at this point, I don't expect a call back. Well, I did get a call back. But let me explain. I'm not going to get a call back for an in-depth kind of an answer to any questions about the speakers. And I don't believe, because at this point it would have happened. But let me say this, I'm not in the least bit upset about it, and I don't hold it against the speaker or Eric or the company. And here's why. First of all, he doesn't owe me that. I'm an absolute nobody. I'm just a knucklehead that makes videos. I understand that. I got it. I own that. I'm with you. He doesn't owe me that one iota. And I don't hold that against him. What he did do correctly is, and I appreciate it, is when I initially called the company, I said I said to the very nice lady I had a question. He did call me back the same freaking night. He did. And that's when I said to him, well, my question's a little more extensive. I'd like a few more minutes, if you could answer that. So he did call me back. So if I had a rather quick question, he called me back and he was going to answer it. That is excellent customer service. Right there. He fulfilled his customer service obligation. He gets a 10. A+, man. A+, brother. In terms of me saying, hey, could you call me back and give me 20 minutes and to answer some questions? That's me saying, hey, can you chat? He doesn't owe me a fucking chat. Not a bit. If he did call me back to do that, it would be a pure luxury. It would be just the kindness of his heart. He doesn't owe me that. I don't hold that against him, and it will not be held against the speaker. So let me just set the record straight on that. I'm cool with that, man. A-okay with it. So what I'll do is I'll try to figure out on my own the answers to the questions I have. It just would have been nice. It would have been really cool. But that's okay. No biggie. He still gets an A for customer service. Now, that's the first thing I want to get off my chest. And I did say, call me back at your convenience, so I never gave him a time frame. So maybe he will. If he does, man, I'll be excited. That would be cool. I told you before, I'm excited about the Uruse speakers. I'm excited. I like the design. I'm looking forward to them. And I'm going to give you an honest assessment. After all this build up, if I don't like them, I'll tell you. If I do like them, I'll tell you. Maybe I'll be new. Who knows? Now, but it's going to be 8 weeks before I get them, so I'm going to fill the time doing some other stuff. I got a few things to say today, so let me move on. My phone, I run out of memory in a half an hour. As you noticed in my last few videos, it just sort of abruptly cuts off, and I'm on my cell phone. It just runs out of memory. What? Buy more memory? No thanks. No, you know what? It's self-limiting. If I've talked for that long, the phone is telling me to shut the F up, and I agree with the phone. The phone knows. The phone is correct. It's got a computer in it. It's got to be correct. And I don't always feel like chatting, you know. Let me go back in the day, and thanks for all the kind comments and asking about Jasper, the audio dog, and he's doing great. He's 14 years old. Family's doing good. You know, I don't often feel like talking. I've got a full-time job in the intellectual property law. I don't want to get into any details. I want to keep my job entirely separate from this, from my YouTube channel, please. The two have nothing to do with one another. And you know, and sometimes I'm tired, don't feel like talking whatsoever. And other times, you know, back in the day, if you remember, I took almost a year off. I had awful, terrible vertigo. And I swear, man, I was ready to check out. Man. Still not quite sure what caused it, but it's been speculated it's migraine related, and I get some killer migraines. And the migraines I get are not, I get headaches, but they're not the ultra, I get terrible headaches, but they're not the debilitating kind. They're annoying as hell, but they're not debilitating. I get the other stuff that comes with migraines, like visual disturbances and sometimes like numbness, and I lose my ability to think clearly. I get brain fog and other weird neurological symptoms, and my migraines are getting worse as I get older. And man, sometimes they last for days, 3 or 4 days, and so yeah, man, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I think they last longer than that, and sometimes I think I'm living in a chronic migraine. So does my doctor. So there are times I just can't talk, and so these times I feel like having a chat with you. I'm just going to do it. And I got one comment. I've got some comments that I printed out. I want to thank you guys for any encouragement, because no, I'm not a traditional audio guy, you know. I got this one comment from I want to address some comments, and thank you guys for sending them. I've printed these out because I'm here and I don't have any. There's no cell. Hell, half the houses, a lot of the houses up here, even my farmhouse, is still on spring water. And this farmhouse was on an outhouse up until about 20 years ago. This is a time machine here, man. So I don't have internet here, but I'm going to read some of you, I'm going to read some of the, see, I printed out some of this stuff, some of the comments here, but hang on a second. So I got a comment from this is all public because you posited this stuff in my public comment, so I can read it, right? So MPI, talk about hard to watch. I think you need to lay off the sauce or something. Your recent videos have been garbage. All right, so let me respond to that one. And I responded to that one. Hey, I'm cool with that, man. Let me talk about negative comments for a minute. That's fine. I left that one up. Now, hang on, I just dropped my cigar. God damn it. Look at that fire. I like that comment, actually. I gave it a love. Negative comments like that are good because they make me think. Hold on, the wind is blowing my shit around. Hang on. Starting to get breezy. I actually like that comment. I don't know what the guy's intent was behind it, if he's just being a prepubescent zip-popping shit stain. I'm not sure if that's one of those guys, or if he's actually a mature adult and that's the way he really feels. It's hard to say. Usually adults have a classier way of saying that, a more articulate way of saying the same thing. But we all, you know, sometimes we have our moments and we get a little emotional. You know, not everyone can control their emotions that well. But it did make me think. It made me reflect a little bit about what I'm doing now. Why am I making these videos? Why am I sitting down and just talking about this stuff? Why am I not on the workbench reading schematics? Why am I not? Well, I know why I'm not reviewing equipment. I'm waiting on my fucking speakers. I know why I'm not doing too much, because I got a pesky little thing called a life and a family and a career, and property to manage, and lots of other things going on. So that's why I can't make one video a day. I can't make one fucking video a day, you know. But so why make any videos at all then if I can't make the same kind of stuff I used to make? So I got to thinking about that, so it made me reflect. So thank you for the comment, and the conclusion I came to is, well, you know, I've got to be true to myself, and what I've always done is, when I felt like making a video, you can go back through all my videos, they've all been kind of different. I remember hearing, and I'm not, okay, I don't want to get into that. I remember hearing a Paul McCartney interview once, and something he said really rang true to me, where he was talking about how he and John approached their songwriting. And I never really thought about this before, but he talked about how a lot of bands back then, you know, when you listen to an album, you would listen to their hit song, and then you listen to the other songs in the album, and they were kind of like variations of the same song, if you really listen closely. And that was kind of true. Whereas Paul and John, you know, they would just, from album to album, from even within an album, their songs were, you know, they would do a song and then scrap that theme and do something entirely different. Oh, totally different tune, totally different harmony, everything. And it's true, man. The Beatles would, and I'm not really a Beatles fan, but their songs were diverse. And so, you know, we go through life and we hear these awesome people that are full of awesomeness, like Paul McCartney. I respect him. And you pick and choose. You hear these little tidbits of wisdom, and you go, you know what? I kind of want to be that way. And I go through my life, and I listen to these people. You find people who are great, and you listen to them, and you go, you know, that's a good piece of wisdom right there. So, along those lines, and I'm not comparing myself to any person. I'm just saying I choose little pieces of wisdom from other people, and I kind of model that, my, you know, little how I roll after that. Lots of people. I'm not talking about just Paul, but lots of people I listen to, and I little things that ring true to me. So, as I go through life, not just my videos, but I go, you know what? I just don't want to do the same thing twice all the time. I want to do things differently. I don't want my life to be variations on a theme constantly. So yeah, I want to change things up all the time, do things differently. So what I'm doing now is something different, man. What I'm talking about are something different. Different scenery, different topics. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But as always, you've got the hit that thumbs down button, smash that unsubscribe button. Fuck it, man. You've got options, bro. Or just take a giant fucking dump in my comment section. If that's going to help you, alleviate the tension you have brewing in your spinal column, then take a dump in my comment section, man, and I'll give you a heart. How's that? Now, what I don't like in my comment section are completely total prepubescent, zit popping, shit stain, mean-spirited crap. And those I get rid of. I can tell the difference. Those guys, I block their content, and because I know those. I can tell. Because I don't want that littering my stuff, man. There's a difference between mean-spirited stuff and just guys that have to vent. So I hope that helps. That's a long-winded response. Now that's kind of the reason why I focused on the negative comments, because I'm not going to focus on any more negative comments. That's just how I feel about negative comments in general. Now I'm fast approaching my limit here, my 30-minute limit. Let me roll down some positive comments. Or some neutral comments or helpful comments. So, and I'm going to have to, what I'll do is I'll have to hit stop and then restart the video. I'll find a way to get through this shit. So, and some of these usernames I can't pronounce, but let me read this guy right here. I'm not going to pronounce that. You guys read it. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that, but here's what he says. He, she, they. Choose the pronoun of your choice. I don't know, man. Peace and love. I don't care. I like to watch this guy, that guy, Z reviews, and some vinyl channels. For me, the most important part is passion. I don't really care about how knowledgeable someone is as long as they love what they are doing. Often it seems like arrogance comes along with the loss of passion for the subject. And it's no longer about the hobby, but all about themselves. And then I usually unsubscribe and move on. Well, you know what? That's a good piece of wisdom right there. That's a good piece of wisdom. And again, I read these comments and you make me think. I didn't really put one and one together, but it's absolutely true. Passion. I think your comment rings true to me. Good piece of wisdom, my friend. And Z reviews, is that? I think I've seen that. Is that the guy with the chubby little hand that like sometimes he moves around and there's some kind of like a video attached to his hand and he carries things and you see that little fucking mitt of a hand and moving around? There's something attached to it. Is that guy? And he's all hyper and shit. He's real hyper. I don't know. I think I know that guy, but Is he another like one video a day guy? I think I've seen that guy. I'll have to check him out again. But these other guys, I don't know. Hey, listen, I'm checking every one of these guys, and I'm going to get to that in a minute because I've got an idea. Let me allude to my idea here. How about a review of reviewers? How about I do the audio talking head Olympics? Gold, silver, and bronze award for the best audio talking heads. Because I'm in a search for people that I want to watch. So if I'm going to be looking around at all these guys, let me come up with some categories. Like passion's one category. Real, technical knowledge, industry knowledge, there's got to be other good categories, and I'm going to start watching them. And likability. Write that down. Passion. Tech knowledge. Industry knowledge. Likability. Fake personality. I hate fake personalities. There's a lot of people that come on YouTube and they goddamn cigar fell again. And they come up with a fake persona just for YouTube. And you can tell. You can tell. The audio talking head Olympics. Something like that. Is that a good idea, or am I going to jump the shark on this one? Because you know what? I need to fill some time between now and the 8 years when I receive my speakers. I'm gonna hit stop right now so I can get a drink of. Oh, by the way, back to that negative review guy. No, man, I don't do the sauce, man. Ever since I got vertigo, if I do the sauce, it rocks my vertigo, bro. So it's not sauce. What it could be, you know what it could be? What's that? What's the name of that negative guy? Hang on. Let me get that negative guy back. M-Pie. What it could be is maybe it's my migraines. Maybe I'm having a series. It's causing a series like mini strokes in my head, and it's changing my whole persona. It's causing me to. Maybe that's causing me to jump the shark, bro. What do you think? Hey, this barrel fire is so hot. So hot. I can barely stand it. This is how far back I am. Check out this guy. These guys with their tires. How can you stand to ride around with tires that make that much racket? All day long. Jesus. All right. I'm going to hit stop and start again so I can. My phone, I guess, I have lots of memory on the phone, but it like after 30 minutes it shuts down and wants to start a new video. So hang on a second.